Oh yeah, party people. I got your loaf of bread for you today. Going back to the Tao, one of my favorite books, one of the most impactful books that I've read in recent years. So, the verse that I want to read to you today is the 76th verse of the Tao Te Ching, and it goes like this. A man is born gentle and weak. At his death, he is hard and stiff. All things, including the grass and trees, are soft and pliable in life, dry and brittle in death. Stiffness is thus a companion of death. Flexibility a companion of life. An army that cannot yield will be defeated. A tree that cannot bend will crack in the wind. The hard and stiff will be broken. The soft and supple will prevail. Again, the images he uses to make his point are quite brilliant. A tree that cannot bend will be broken in the wind. Everything in life is soft and pliable, in death, dry and brittle. But what does that mean for us in our everyday lives? To me, it means that we have to be able to bend, or else we're going to break. We have to be able to navigate the pressures of this world, whether they appear to be coming from outside us or within us. And we can't resist too much, because the more we resist and the more we dig our heels in and the more we try to be rigid and stubborn and unbending, the more likely we are to crack. So this can apply to a variety of things. When you have goals, for instance, that you are pursuing, instead of making it an all or nothing proposition. For instance, I have to get this. If I don't, I'll be a failure. You see how that's very rigid? There's only two options. You're forcing yourself into either success or failure. If we take Lao Tzu's advice and we look at nature and we start to cultivate an appreciation for the soft and the supple, for the flexible, then instead of making a goal an all or nothing proposition, we'll treat it in degrees of preference. Your number one preference might be to achieve this goal. But what if you don't? What if something unforeseen happens? What if something out of your control robs you of that goal? Well, if you're rigid and you're dogmatic and you're stubborn, you will simply go to option B, which is, I failed to achieve my goal. That's an injustice. What bullshit. I'm a failure, etc., etc., etc. If you're dealing in degrees of preference, then you say, well, my first preference is that I achieve this goal. My second preference is that maybe I'll achieve half of it. My third preference is that if I don't achieve it at all, X, Y, Z won't happen. So you see how you're giving yourself more options. And instead of talking about it in terms of success and failure, you're just talking about it in terms of preferences. So if you don't get your first or second or even your third preference, you're not automatically a failure. You don't automatically turn to the world and try to assign blame. You just carry on, because there's nothing to be upset about. So that's just one example of the mental flexibility that I'm referring to. But really the point here is driven home by the images, isn't it? A man is born gentle and weak. At his death, he is hard and stiff. You literally can't argue with anything that Lao Tzu says in this. And if it applies to every facet of nature, as he goes on to show you in this verse, why do we think we're exceptional, or that the rules of nature don't apply to us? It's the same for us in life and in death. The same principles apply. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is I'm really glad that I've found these principles and that I can actually put them to use. Because before I was stiff and rigid. I wasn't flexible. It was my way or the highway. I was either successful or a failure. This either or mentality, that's rigid. That's not the sign of flexibility. And the surest sign that you have mental flexibility, in my opinion, is the ability to change your mind and to let go of beliefs and opinions when new evidence comes to light. Sort of like the Marcus Aurelius quote that I read a couple days ago about, if you can prove to me that I'm wrong, I will gladly change my mind. And this is the same thing. It's mental flexibility. So please, if you take anything away from this channel today, try to be more flexible in your ideas, in your thinking, in your beliefs. Try to be more flexible in your approach to life. Let go of your expectations and see what happens, because that's probably the first step in being more flexible. And if that works for you, I'd love to hear about it, either in the comments section or on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. Trying to think of all the places that I'm starting to share these videos. Wherever, get at me. I want to hear about it. I'm doing these videos not to get likes or to have it shared. I'm doing these videos because I want to talk to you. This is what drives me. This is what I love. I love talking about this stuff, and I love showing people new things, and I love learning new things from people. So don't hesitate. Don't be shy. I'm not pretentious. I'm not an asshole. I want to talk to you. This is why I'm here. I'm looking for my brothers and my sisters. So if you've had success cultivating mental flexibility, if you have stories about it, if you have insights to give me, I am still a student. I always will be. So please teach me. Drop me a line. That's it for me today, my friends. Live well, and I will see you tomorrow.